Alright, your hazardous material incident response curriculum guidelines. Hazardous material safety officer. Introduction. There are two categories that combine with the section. The first is safety officer hazardous material incident safety officer is defined in OSHA, and the second, the hazardous material safety officer assistant safety officer hazardous material is defined in the National Fire Protection Association 472. The safety officer hazardous material incident is defined in OSHA is really trained to meet the appropriate OSHA regulatory requirements to identify they have to provide the direction safety operation emergency response side that has material safety officer to define the National Fire Protection Association 472 should be trained to meet all competencies with the first of the response awareness operational technical level. The competency of the 6-inch officer receive additional training to meet the applicable Department of Transportation, Environmental Protection Agency, Occupational Safety, Health Administration, and the other appropriate state, local, provincial, occupational health and safety regulatory requirement. Definition: incentive safety officer that has material authority of the OSHA, but that has the material safety officer of the National Fire Protection Association. For the persons who work with the incident command, the system also connect called the incident management system, ensuring the recognized safety of the proactive is involved with the incident safety officer responsible for the incident of the at large has the authority to alert, suspend, terminate activities of the dangerous conditions. Incident safety officer that has material responsible for the operation has material branch group normally headed by the incident commander of the actions they need to take in place in order to correct the hazard material safety officer of the National Fire Protection Association 472 will call upon to provide technical assistance regarding safety issues that the hazard material officer and incident safety officer with the hazard material incident training audience. The training audience for both the safety officer and hazard material incident OSHA have the material safety officer relatively small in number of the technical advances. Safety officer has material incident OSHA person potential qualified incident command level have the material knowledge of identify the hazard assess for the risk needed intervention training and audience shall include the existing members of the hazard material response team who have the experience of the training and technical level of the also demonstrate sufficient potential to warrant training subsequent assignment that has material safety officer level. Methodology recommendation: safety officer has material incident OSHA, but have the material safety officer of the National Fire Protection Association 472, but the training with his must conduct with a combination of classroom instruction for the traditional lecture, small group activities, field lectures of the group with the practice with the simulated emergency should be shown with the emphasis of the field training with the incident with the operation shall evaluate the problem solving incident real-time practice identify and implementing safety interventions during the incident safety operation that has material team with the content instruction should be synthesized to the student activity requiring basic analysis of the incident information demonstrating the safety plan of the action requiring assessment performance of the hazard material team members during operation determining the need of the safety intervention training including the instruction model and student walkthroughs and student practice on the competency achieve the routine criteria correct instruction essential. The refresher training should include one technical information up to the critical ability to analyze incident assist in the plan with the safety response criteria with the incident safety scene safety evaluation intervention skills using simulated emergencies. Summary of training: hazard material safety officer of the yard. Small number of the safety officers respond to the incident command level potential for the assignment. The incident safety officer with the respond to the technical level of the potential assignment of hazmat safety officer. Prerequisites: aware core operation technician, incident commander level training. No specific link with the training is recommended. The link with the training was sufficient to achieve the competency method to include the classroom lab with the field exercise with the emphasis of the real time situation regarding development of safety response plan to identify safety problem with the implement with the response plan competency analysis and incident plan with the response implementation response reporting documentation has the material incident annual refresher training recommended including retesting the response skills technical and standard operation information procedure information updates refreshing incident scene decision making identification and safety issue through the field exercise simulation training. Field training requirements: there are no federal specified training requirements that hand to safety of the OSHA Title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q3 47 through 8 of the specify the certain performance of the county requirements safety officer has material incident with employers rather than ensure that employees demonstrate competency and skill to define all of those safety officers initially OSHA decide the incident with the commander only subsequent OSHA interpretations now that they may be multiple safety officers, assistant safety officers, and incident and advise the several levels of command individual chart of the incident command system should designate the safety officer with the knowledgeable operation with the emergency response side with the specific responsibility to identify the BLA how to provide the direction with respect to safety operation from emergency at hand. When activities are the safety officer in immediate danger to life and health and or to involve the imminent danger condition, the officer shall have the authority to alter, suspend, terminate those activities. Safety officials should immediately involve the command system for any of the actions needed to take with the correct the hazard in the emergency scene. OSHA understand safety officer given simulated incident involving the hazard material demonstrate the ability to identify the BLA have the incident provide the direction development of the safety response plan give the simulated response involving the incident of the involving the hazard material demonstrate the ability to identify the BLA unsafety operation activities conditions involving the imminent error Given identified safe conditions simulated with the response to the incident involving has material demonstrated the ability to determine appropriate interventions, including altering, suspending, terminating selective response activity, coordinating with the interventions. Individual sergeant and lieutenant command system at the incident recommended training objective. The following training objective recommended by the hazmat material safety officer training the primary source of the material of the National Fire Protection Association. Chapter 2013 edition, Chapter 11 comes to the hazmat material safety officer with the training objective of the other sources of the discussion rationale of the inclusion beyond the special topics section and with the response guide of the hazmat material safety officer should be trained in all the constitutive of the first responder awareness of operational technical level. When it comes to this section, the officer should be with additional training to meet the EPA with the OSHA and other appropriate state, local, and provincial occupational health and safety regulatory requirements. Objective identification legend. The identification of the objective is used in these guidelines indicate for the origin, usually National 472 and 473, and they indicate for the OSHA requirements of the objective support. Safety officer analyzing the incident. Determine the magnitude of the problem, determine the safety scenario of the incident of the hazmat material weapon master instructor, the hazmat material safety officer observe the scene and review the evaluate hazard response information protecting the safety of all of the personnel that has the material of the branch group. Hazmat material safety officer should explain the basic tactical principles of the relatively assessment treatment of the personnel exposed by the hazmat material weapon master instructor, including the following: acute chronic toxicity dose for the response road of the routes of the exposure to the toxic material synergistic effects. Hazmat material safety officer shall identify the leaf 3 conditions where the hazard flammability would require the chemical protective coating with the thermal protection. Hazmat material safety officer shall identify the leaf 3 conditions where the personnel would not be allowed to enter the hot zone. Give the name of the 5 hazard material weapon master. The leaf 5 the 3 resources, reference resources. Hazard material safety officer identify the physical, chemical properties, potential impact, safety of the personnel involving each of the material agents. Give the name of the hazard material with the least 3 for reference source. Identify the health concern of the potential impact of the safety health of the personnel involving each of the materials. Give the name of the 5 hazard material. The description of these contain the hazard material safety officer shall identify 5 hazard physical conditions shall impact the safety of the personnel involving each of the materials. Safety officer playing with response to identify the safety precaution with the potential action option of the given scenario involving the hazard material weapon master instructor. The hazard material with the safety officer safety of the hazard material officer developing site safety with the control plan respond with the capabilities available to response personnel and personnel. Protect the equipment, control equipment, identify the specific safety precautions to preserve the mitigation of each of the hazard conditions identified. Identify safety precautions associated with the search and rescue mission for the hazard material weapon master instruction. Identify the safety precautions with potential actions upon options. Give the scenario involved with the hazard material weapon master instruction. Have the material with the safety officer provide an instant safety officer for the hazard material officer with the instant command of the observation based on the recommendations regarding the consideration of safety. On-site personnel with the hazard material safety officer shall develop a recommendation for the incident commander regarding safety considerations of the hazard risk of each hazard material weapon master instruction contained. Identify the and assist in the development of site safety control plan and conclusion of the incident action plan. Given the scenario involved with the hazard material weapon master instruction, the hazard material with the safety officer for the incident safety officer, the hazard material officer for the development of the site safety control plan for the inclusion incident action plan. Identify the important below list of the 5 benefits of the pre-emergency plan relating to the specific site, and identify the name of the 5 precautions to preserve the approaching with the hazard material weapon master instruction incident. List elements of safety consideration pre-incident plan with the developing of the hazard material weapon master instruction containing the developing safety consideration for the incident. Provide recommendation regarding safety review and plan with the action. Proposed plan of action incident involving the hazard material weapon master instruction contains the incident safety officer, the hazard material officer with the incident commander, safety precaution for the incident action plan. Ensure the safety consideration procedure. Propose an incident action plan with the consistent with the emergency response plan organization standard operation procedure. Make recommendation incident complaint with the safety consideration proposed incident action plan. Review section for the personal protective equipment scenario involved with the hazard material weapon master instruction for the hazard material for the safety of the demonstrator the ability to review the selection of personal protective equipment they regard the required to give the action option and include the safety consideration personal working with personal protective equipment. Give the name of the 5 different hazard material weapon master instruction chemical capability to chart with the chemical protective clothing, identify the chemical protective clothing would provide the protection, identify the hazard wear with each of the 5 substances, give the name of the 5 different hazard material, identify the personal protective equipment option, specify the response option, give the recommended donating, adopting, and evening of the personal protective equipment, provide the authority have the jurisdiction to have the material weapon master instruction response activities. Reviewing proposed decontamination plan with specifically decontamination procedure that has material office with incident name of the scenario involving the simulated hazard material weapon master instruction aim at the review of the plan to identify the safety consideration prior to the implementation of the incident action plan. Ensuring the provision of the proper emergency medical services area involved with the hazard material weapon master instruction incident of the material safety of the review of the emergency medical service the procedure that ensure the response for the personnel provide the medical care, identify elements required in the emergency medical service plan, identify the importance of on-site medical monitoring program, identify the resource for transportation care for the injured personnel, so as the hazmat material weapon of mass destruction. Implementing plan and response. Identify the safety precautions, potential action options. Given the scenario of the hazmat material weapon of mass destruction, the hazmat for the safety officer perform the duty of the precision of the name of the consistent with the emergency response plan standard operation procedure. Identify the duty of the hazmat material safety officer emergency response plan standard operation procedure. Demonstrate the proper performance of the duty of the hazmat material safety officer defined emergency response plan standard operation procedure. Identify safety precaution, potential action options. Given the scenario of the hazmat material weapon of mass destruction, the hazmat the safety officer shall ensure the personnel perform the other tab of the safe plan, but identify with the safety consideration control function, identify the site safety control plan, identify with the safety operation action with the following hazmat material weapon mass destruction incident with the state of the emergency response plan and the standard operation procedure. Identify how the following influences heat, cold, stress, with the hazmat material response personnel actively without the duration, entering the environmental effect of the hydration level of the personal equipment, physical fitness, identify the measure that will minimize the harm, the heat and cold stress, identify sites, consideration, minimize psychological, physical stress of the personal working and personal protective equipment, to describe the 5 conditions, whether to be prudent with the drop of the hazmat material weapon mass destruction, conducting safety briefings. Give us an area of the hazmat material weapon mass destruction, incident site safety control plan, hazmat material safety officer should conduct the safety briefing for the personnel perform the function of the incident action plan. Hazmat material safety officer should be able to demonstrate the procedure conducting safety briefing personnel with the incident involved in one of the hazmat material weapon mass destruction in container identify and specify the emergency response plan and operation procedure. Implementing and enforcing safety considerations. Given the involved in the hazmat material weapon mass destruction incident site safety with the control plan hazmat material safety officer shall assist the incident command with the incident safety officer hazmat material officer implementing and enforcing the safety consideration. Identify whether the boundaries established control zones are clear, the more consistent and safety consideration being maintained. Identify whether the outside medical monitoring will require the authority having jurisdiction being performed. Give the entry team and the backup team and the decontamination team wearing personal protective equipment and identifying each type of properly protected and prepared with the safety to perform the signed tab, verify whether the selection of the clothing and equipment is consistent with the site with the safety control plan, verify that each of the team has examined the clothing and the barrier integrity of the equipment and ensure the correct working order, verify the protected clothing and equipment have the zone, according for the organization standard operation procedure, the manufacturer recommendations, and will verify whether each of the person entering the hot zone with a specific task assignment understanding the assignment is properly trained to perform the assigned task and working with the designated partner at all times during the assignment. Verify whether the backup team is prepared at all times with immediate entry the hot zone during entry time operations. Verify whether the decontamination process specified in the safety consideration plate before and entry of the hot zone. Verify each person existing in the hot zone, each tool of the piece of the equipment is decontaminated for the safety consideration agreement that has material weapon mass destruction exposure. Demonstrate the proper procedure for the recording of the name of the individuals existing in the hot zone specified in the local emergency response plan with the organizational standard operation procedure, and then with the safety consideration minimizing secondary contamination. Maintaining communication, given the scenario involving the hazmat material weapon mass destruction incident site safety control plan, hazmat material safety officer shall maintain the routine emergency communication incident command instruction at the time during the incident. Identify the 3 types of communication system needed that hazmat material weapon mass destruction incident sites. Verify whether each of the personnel assigned with the work with the hot zone understanding the emergency alternating response procedure that specified the safety consideration prior to entering the hot zone, monitoring the status reports. Given the simulated hazmat material weapon mass destruction site safety control plan, hazmat material safety officer monitoring routine emergency communication with the incident command instruction at all times during the incident. Hazmat material safety officer shall ensure that the entry of the team member of the regular communicate with the staff of the working assignment of the hazmat material officer. Implementing exposure monitoring. The scenario with involving the hazmat material weapon mass destruction incident with the site safety control plan, hazmat material safety officer shall assist the incident command with the incident safety officer of the hazmat material officer with implementing exposure monitoring. Verifying exposure monitoring. The hazmat material safety and officers shall identify the exposure monitoring personnel with the environment specified for the emergency response plan, standard operation procedure, site safety control plan, consideration is performed. Alright, safety officer with evaluating progress, and then by the deviation, safety consideration of the dangerous situations scenario involving the hazmat material weapon mass destruction incident, even the deviation from the site safety control plan with the activity rule for the hot warm zone by the dangerous condition to have the material safety officer shall take such corrective action as ordered to ensure the safety and health of the person in a hot warm zone with these actions are relative to the small safety control plan and otherwise volatile except the operation procedure, organizational policies, applicable occupational safety and health laws, regulation code standard, the guidelines, identify dangerous conditions developed and identify the during work in a hot warm zone where they threaten the safety and health of the person of the zone with the death of the signs and symptoms of the psychological physical stress on the person wearing personal protective equipment. Take corrective action. Given the scenario involved with the hazmat material weapon mass destruction, given the deviation from the site safety control activity both of the hot and warm zone of the dangerous condition. Hazmat material safety officers should take the corrective action as or necessary to ensure the safety and health of the person in the hot warm zones. Send emergency communication to receive the emergency communication from the incident safety officer with the entry team personnel with the hazmat material officer with the other regarding safe work practice and condition. Given the hazard situation condition with the hazard about being found in the hot zone entry, demonstrate application of the emergency altering procedures specified in the safety control plan to communicate hazard emergency response information affected personnel. Give demonstrated emergency alter Viva hand signal to the member over the entry team operating with the hot zone. Of the meeting that the signal is specified in the site safety control plan. Identify the procedure, all suspend the terminate any activity that can be driven to be unsafe. Left by the emergency response plan standard operation procedures. Demonstrate the provided procedure and notify the appropriate individual unsafe of the action and the act directing alternative safe action. According with the safety consideration organization standard operation procedure. Demonstrate the procedure suspending terminating action that could result in the imminent hazard condition. According with the site safety control plan and standard operation procedure. Terminating in the incident. Providing reports documentation given the scenario involving the hazmat material weapon master incident hazmat material safety officer complete and submit the report documentation follow with the required hazmat material safety officer. Develop the safety report supporting documentation required for the local emergency response and standard operation procedure. Demonstrate the competency with the completion of the safety report with the required for the emergency response plan with the standard operation procedure. Describe the importance of the personal exposure. Debriefing hazmat material branch or group personnel with the given the scenario involving the hazmat material weapon master instruction into the hazmat material safety officer. Debriefing the hazmat material branch group of the personnel regarding the site-specific occupational safety health issues. Hazmat material safety officers shall be identified with the health safety topic the draft of the incident. Briefing the hazmat material safety officers shall be able to demonstrate the proper procedure. They will be briefing the hazmat material branch group of the personnel regarding site-specific occupational safety health area of the concern with the specified with the site of the safety control plan, emergency response plan, organization standard operation procedure, assisting an incident with the critique. Given the scenario involving the hazmat material weapon masters, site safety control plan, hazmat material safety officer provided the safety health related critical observation of the activity that were performed in a hot, warm zone during the incident. Information to be presented with either site and the site safety control plan hazmat material safety officer report the scenario involving the hazmat material weapon masters hazmat material safety officer demonstrate the procedure of the verbal presenting of the following information according to the emergency response plan standard operation procedure safety health related critical observation activity were performed in a hot, warm zone during the incident according to violation of the site safety control plan generally accepted the safe operating practice of the original policy with the applicable occupational of the health of the regulation code standard guidelines and injury death that occurred with the result of the responsibly unforeseen dangers conditions developing during the incident injury death that have occurred resulting in violation of safety consideration generally accept the safety operation practice the organizational policies applicable occupational safety health laws regulations code of the standard guidelines the proper course of the action that would be taken to prevent the injury death that would occur as a result of the safety violation identify the proper course of the action that would likely have prevented the injury death that occurred as a result of the safety violation about the deficiency weakness of the site safety control by local emergency response by organizational standard operation procedure that were during the following incidents. Alright, 10 left blank. We on to hazmat material incident response curriculum guidelines, emergency medical service hazard material weapons, mass destruction, basic life support responders.